Okay, hello everybody. It is very nice that you guys joined for today session, for today our scientific seminar. May I share the screen, please?
Yeah, just a second. Try now.
Okay, cool. Do you see my screen?
Yes, everything is going well. Yes.
Yeah, great. Okay. So today I'm going to tell you a few things about qualitative social network analysis, qualitative network analysis strategy, main approaches, opportunities, and application potential in applied research. But before, I want to ask a few questions. First of all, do you know something about qualitative network analysis? Do you have maybe some experience when you maybe have seen some application of qualitative data in network study or something like that?
I suppose we have here several participants who were making part of our summer school, and who was there definitely already has some expertise, yes, in this area. So if we consider this as a continuation of our session from the summer school, so expanding the expertise in this area, I think majority of the participants today, they have experienced it maybe for the first time during the summer school session.
But maybe before the summer school, have you maybe seen some papers or some knowledge about qualitative methods in network studies? Okay, so if you don't know, if you haven't seen any studies about qualitative network analysis, it's fine. But maybe you know something about qualitative methods. Probably we have here participants with the sociological background.
Yeah, I am from sociology. This year was the qualitative methods year for us. So yeah, we'll learn about the interviews.
Cool. Cool, great. So so you know something about qualitative methods. Okay, great. So what I'm gonna tell you today is probably something what you maybe heard, something what you maybe learned in from our summer school. But I hope that some new information and some new implications would be. So I hope that something will be new for you still. So my name is Aryuna Kim, and I'm doing a PhD thesis about qualitative network analysis, theoretical and methodological foundations, and analytical opportunities. So the reason why I'm studying it is that there is a true research problem, that there is no precise justification for the position of qualitative network analysis in the social sciences. And I have a very clear research question about can this methodology qualitative network analysis be justified as an independent methodology with its own tasks and scope of application. So qualitative approach in network research is very relatively new field in the social network analysis. So as we know, the subject of research in network analysis is deep social structure. However, in addition to these structures, it is possible to study actors in ego network research, as well as the relations among these actors using the qualitative methods in network research. So qualitative network approach is able to reflect the constructions of forms of relation and perception of their actors. So can we still justify qualitative network analysis as a methodological approach to studying relationships in the network? It is still not clear. So our first part of our presentation is about main approaches to study qualitative social network analysis. And firstly, I would say a few words about social network approach in sociology, then about qualitative social network approach in sociology, then a few words about theoretical and methodological foundations, and about my research about development of the field of qualitative social network analysis. So network approach in sociology is constructed and based on the structural approach when we use the metaphor of networks as a representation of social reality where interconnected nodes form a network of interaction. So the social network approach can be defined as a set of theoretical and methodological directions that use the concept of network to explain social phenomena. And there are two main research directions in the field of social network approach. So there is a first field which we all are familiar with. It is formalist network analysis. It is also known as social network analysis, so, SNA. And the second direction is a relational direction, relational approach, which is related to relational sociology. So the formalist network approach makes it possible to determine the relationship between the units of analysis to identify deep social structures and find some patterns of interaction in social groups. While the relational approach goes to relational sociology, and it's more about cultural studies where social reality is constructed and studied through the prism of social relations unfolding in dynamics and separable from context. And from this, out of this topics about field of social network analysis, can we justify that qualitative network analysis is possible? So on the one hand, qualitative network analysis is possible as qualitative study of new types of networks and network strategies, where we use formal network analysis can be connected if it is a mixed method. So we have some qualitative network analysis as interpretive part of the analysis, and then we have some structural visualization. And on the other hand, there is an opinion about refusal of qualitative network analysis of the right to have methodological independence. There is an opinion of an author, Diaz Bone, who believes that possibility who believes that there is an impossibility of qualitative interpretation of the network. So it is possible only within the framework of mixed methods research. So from his opinion, the interpretive component of qualitative network analysis is still based on the quantitative network analysis. So in order to answer, also to answer to this author, Diaz Bone, I'm doing my PhD thesis, and on the slide you see a work in progress, in process, or in progress also. So what I got now, it is 3 main articles, and at this moment I'm working on the 4th one. So first of all, it is the article which is already published in the journal Sociology for M, Sociology 4M in Russian. What I've done here, I did systematic literature review, so it is very strict methodology of for the search and selection of sources, and then we did a review. So in contrast to traditional approach, there is some very strict formation of choosing of the articles. So what I did there, I took Web of Science database and check using those quotes, qualitative plus social network plus mixed methods. So I checked, and so from this query, I checked only articles from the sociology and social sciences. So here I got like qualitative social network analysis in the strategy of mixed methods study only in social sciences. And so I looked through all the articles and learned some main characteristics of the qualitative social network analysis overall and in this strategy. And I checked like what are the main authors in this field, what do they write, which authors named at least this methodology of qualitative network analysis, because some of the authors named like nothing. And out of this analysis, I also learned how the authors not only think about this methodology but also use it. How exactly they applied this methodology in their own research, and also what are the researches, what do they what topics did it covered. So I would say for the literature review, this approach, systematic literature review, is very cool approach. If you want to get in touch to some field, and also after you did the systematic literature review, it is very cool to make this article, because if you want to go to one specific field, you can just read one article with this systematic literature review, and you got everything what you want. You know something about this field. This is very great. This is what I've done in February 2020. Then I did also literature review with the co-author Daria Maltseva, but it is more mathematics. It is bibliometric analysis of the field qualitative social network analysis, and over this analysis there were more computational, it turns more computational resources. And what we've done, we also use the database Web of Science, and we checked using these quotes, social network plus qualitative or mixed methods, and we got like more than 21,000 of publications. So what we did, we used bibliometrics social network analysis, and we checked how according to the we did citation network, like very huge network from the very beginning, who cited somewhere earlier than him, and we did some we created some we created some line how the field of qualitative social network analysis was developed from the very beginning, from the first article, which was actually article of Mark Granovetter, how it continues and how it is flows from the very beginning. It was very interesting. We got some results which we were not which we are not expected. For instance, we thought that we will get qualitative social network analysis from the maybe field sociology, social sciences, maybe mathematics, somewhere computer science, maybe a bit, but no, we got the very huge story how these methods were developed in the medical sciences, which was like very strange, but after some time we got understanding why we got such results, and it was not very it was fine. So in medical science, this methodology were also developed, and it's also still has his main authors. So it's like separate parallel field development, which is also very cool. So so these two articles, these two works with the different types of the literature review were very helpful for me, because after this work with the literature, I got some understanding of theoretical and methodological framework of qualitative social network analysis. So I wrote an article about qualitative social network analysis as a methodological approach to study network relationships. And now I sent this article to the journal, so I'm waiting for the answer. And after all this theoretical methodological work, and now I'm working with the empirical study, and I will talk about it later. So qualitative social network analysis, it is from one point of view, when we talk about qualitative studies, we think that it is an interpretative approach to understand social reality. So because it is constructed, this social reality is meaningful and refers to the context of action, depends on the point of view, and develops dynamically. And there are six main areas most suitable for qualitative social network research. It is explorational network research, network practices, network orientations and interpretations, network effects. So how important is a network? Network dynamics, network data validation, and access to a hard-to-reach field. But from my point of view, the qualitative social network analysis may be the fusion of interpretative and structural approaches, because it's still because qualitative social network analysis still has this networked network metaphor, networked construction. So it still has this structural component, I believe. So maybe it is a kind of the fusion of both of these approaches. So from which I believe how we can explain what is qualitative social network analysis, I believe that we can justify that it is independent methodological approach, and this methodological approach aims to study network relationships. So the research object of qualitative social network analysis is personal or ego networks. Research subject is deep meanings of relationships and networks. Main research goal is to study the relationships in networks. Methodology is qualitative data collection, and data analysis also qualitative. And from my out of my analysis, there are several research tasks. So first is to highlight meanings and relationships in networks. Second is to explore and describe context of relationships in networks. Then to study network practices, to learn network orientations and interpretations, to understand the importance of general network, some clusters and specific nodes. Then to analyze temporal relationships in networks and overall network dynamic. Then is to focus on actor actions and strategies to build the network. And qualitative social network analysis can be used because of the because it can be the access to hard to reach communities. As for the theoretical methodological foundations, if we will see how is structured the overall field of formal social network analysis or quantitative social network analysis, we see that there is some parts to ego network analysis, and inside of the ego network analysis, there is this qualitative social network analysis. As for the conceptualization of the meanings of relationships, there is a recent very cool book of Jan Fuse, Social Network of Meanings, where he used Harrison White's relational sociology and Niklas Luhmann theory of systems in order to explain the networks of meanings. So he also somehow, I think, studied working with the qualitative networks, but he goes very deep. He wants to get the meanings of those networks, which we all consist of, which we all working with. And in his conceptualization, there are three main categories. First is deep meanings of relationships. He understood those meanings as a set of expectations about the behavior of individuals in relation to each other. These expectations in relationship control the course of communication and are associated with other forms of relationship meanings, identities, social roles, and other. The second category for conceptualization social networks is the concept of communicative events. This term was taken from the relational sociologies, but such events usually cause transactions. So social relations exist as ready-made constructs as they are formed and reproduced in the course of events. And the third concept is the communication. So the process of communication entails attributing events to individual, which leads to construction of expectation about such behavior of the part of others. And such communicatively constructed expectations of relationships makes up the semantic structure of social networks and provide the observed patterns of communication. So here on the slide, you see this analyzing scheme for the study of deep meanings of relations by Fusey. So we see interpretive understanding of social networks, where the basis of the meanings of relationships and networks is in the transactions, in communicative events that affect the communication process as the main process of entire social, which was written in Luhmann's book about theory of system. And construction of meanings of relationship occurs due to a multitude of transactions on the basis of which relational expectations are formed regarding the course of communication and possible forecast for the next transactions. And I added a few moments, a few concepts. So this is added analytical scheme for the study of deep meanings of relations. So what I added here, it is the context of relations, which is capable to generalize the original communication into a simple form. Reflecting individuals denote the meanings of relationships based on the context of this relationship based on communication events and relational expectations. Another important element of revealing the deep meanings, I think it's reflexivity of the actor. Without this component, we never get the deep meanings of relationships from this actor. And it cannot be proposed to settlement to the analytical scheme within the concept of social structure as was it understood in Giddens' structurational theory. So the reflecting actor forms and reproduces the social structure in his actions, and he is also able to change the structure. Therefore, the social structure and relations in it are considered in dynamics. Relations between actors are considered according to Giddens' structure and principles. Significations, legitimations, and power, that is, a hierarchy is always formed between actors. And what I also were trying to find, I was trying to find the place of qualitative social network analysis in whole field of social network analysis, and I found two main approaches for differentiation of methodologies. So the first approach is to divide by methodology. So we have quantitative and qualitative studies. So from this logic, we also can have quantitative social network analysis and qualitative social network analysis. And as for the subject, in quantitative, we have social structures. In qualitative, we have meanings of relationship. As for the object, in quantitative, we have network. In qualitative, we have ego network. As for the main task, in quantitative, we have task to study social structure networks. In qualitative, we want to study the relationships in networks. As for the level of analysis, in quantitative, we have macro level. In qualitative, we have micro level. Explorational model. In quantitative, we have structuralism. In qualitative, we have probably fusion of interpretive and structural approaches. As for the methodology, it is quantitative in quantitative, methodology in qualitative and qualitative. Data collection, but data collection can be different in quantitative social network analysis. it can be as quantitative as qualitative, but in qualitative network analysis, the data collection is also qualitative. The second approach, it is division by research subject, and from this perspective, we got quantitative social network analysis, qualitative, but also we got ego network analysis. And in ego network analysis, we want to study actors' position in network, and a subject of the ego network analysis is actors' position. Object is ego network or personal network, as in qualitative social network analysis. Level of analysis is meso and micro. But explorational model is also structuralism. Methodology is also quantitative, but data collection also can be quantitative and qualitative. And the third approach, which I believe can be also possible, I argued in my new article that the third approach is also possible, where we divide in our field of social network analysis into 3 by research levels. So we have macro level, where we study network analysis of structure. Then we have meso level, when we got network analysis of subgroups. And we have micro level with the ego network analysis. But this ego network analysis can be focused on 2 different things. In first, it can be focused on actor attributes. So we have quantitative network analysis, ego network analysis. And we can have focus on deep meanings of relationships. So we can so after that we got qualitative network analysis. And a few words about field development studies. So as I said, based on the analysis of main path and key roads, we checked how qualitative social network analysis was developed in social sciences from 1985 with the work of Margaret Navetter about embedded economic action. Then there was a work of Alexandra Cortes about social capital. So before 2010, there was a kind of theoretical methodological phase. After this, we got empirical phase when researchers use fields of migrants and teachers networks. They studied informal learning in 2015, and in 2020, transactional networks. And also we found how qualitative social network analysis was studied in medical science. So first, there was a work of Morris in 1993 about connection of epidemiology and social network analysis. So it was a kind of theoretical and methodological phase. Then they checked those ideas in empirical studies about sexual context studies in 1999. Then also there was again this phase about methodology when authors were checking about epidemic models using SNA. And then again, the empirical object changed from the sexual context to social context studies from 2011. And here we got a slide with the our bibliometric study of the QSNA fields, and here you see top 50 main keywords of those articles. So the selection of the subgroups performed by island methods. So here we see how the word social is connected with qualitative with study, research, and also it is connected with the health, mental care, and support. So social, health, support. So we got this new field from the medical sciences, this link with the word qualitative. So it is all for this part of the blog. Maybe now you have some questions before we go further.
Aryuna, I can make a comment, a short comment on this link of the words social support and health. Also, as a researcher, I can confirm that in, I wouldn't say just health studies, but in social studies, which relate somehow health issues, for example, for different age groups, and when I focus on old persons, it is quite important that healthcare institutions, they employ somehow either formal or informal help through this social support, actually. And in some European countries, specifically Nordic countries, there are a lot of publications with evaluation and assessment of efficiency of healthcare through support. So how it is possible, for example, to use social ties, family ties, and different social ties for support for different healthcare issues. When it is better to go for informal support, to go beyond institutionalized support. And I do confirm that this is like true story.
Thank you, Irina. Very nice comment. Yeah, it's true. It's a completely huge and rich field. And also, I know that our colleagues from Slovenia, they also got, Anushka Firligo got a nice paper about social support during COVID among older people, I think. So yeah, it is a very nice field. Where also social network analysis is used and studied because they study social ties. Okay, I think now we can move on. Okay, now we have part about opportunities of qualitative social network analysis, and here we got a few words about opportunities at the research object level, research subject level, and opportunities of mixing methods. So the potential of combining qualitative and quantitative network approach are based on the systematic literature review. So lots of authors thought about that. It's very nice to combine both network approaches because potential of combining the qualitative analysis of stories and meanings of times and their dynamics with the quantitative network analysis of the picture produced, they believe that such combining has potential, that we see how our networks, how our network is developed inside of it, and and outside of it. So the description and exploration of the network from both from the ethic and the MIC point of view. And also quantitative social network analysis is able to highlight network boundaries and structural characteristics, but qualitative network analysis can reveal the causes and motivation and ideas and perceptions that lie behind such network structures. So we, with both of these approaches, we can see the whole picture of our research. As for the capabilities at the research object level, First of all, it is the focus Q&A is the precisely personal networks or ego networks, which are collected based on the interviews or documents. Second one is the possibility to enter the field of hard-to-reach communities that cannot be studied through quantitative social network analysis. As for the opportunities at the research subject level, so first of all, it is identification of the deep meanings of relationships in the networks and the context of their interactions. So qualitative methods would delve into the understanding of the meanings that individuals attach to those relationships and to the interactive processes by which they are created. A focus on the concept of ties and relationships within interviews, ethnographic observations, and content analysis can contextualize quantitative network measures to understand why and how different nodes in a network occupy their position. Then it is a focus on the activities and strategies of actors in building the networks. So using qualitative methods, we can explore the field and describe the practices of actors in the creation of the network. And of course, we can study the temporality of relationships between actors. So qualitative methods provide the opportunity to study the temporality of relationships between actors, so we can get deeper understanding of network history. And the third part of my presentation, it is application of qualitative social network analysis. A few words about implementing the methodology to strategy of mixing methods. Then we got some example of qualitative social network analysis, and would say a few words about the research design of my own study. So according to the this work with the systematic literature review, there are 4 ways to implement qualitative in the strategy of mixing methods when we have this data type qualitative, and how we analyze it. We can analyze qualitative data qualitatively, or we can have qualitative data, then transform it and do the quantitative analysis. And also we can have qualitative data and do both type of analysis, and qualitative and quantitative. And of course, we can have both type of the data and do both type of the analysis. So as for the first method, when we have qualitative data, we do in a qualitative data analysis, but the studies, we got mixed method studies, but they believe that they combined different qualitative methods for data collection. So that was the reason why they believe that their study is were done by mixed methods. So the main characteristics of this first possible way of implementation, it is the construction of network card based on the interview, network card and network map. So the network map is aimed at structuring interaction from the point of view of a particular individual and relative to him. Those who were in the summer school with me, I think remember how we draw these circles, how we draw our own networks of the people with whom we were connecting with at that day. Maybe you still got those pictures. The second possible implementation is to use qualitative methods, qualitative data, and then analyze it quantitatively. So in this study, the technique of the constructing network map was defined as quantitative network analysis. The third selected methods is when we have qualitative data and we analyze it quantitative and qualitatively, and this type of the mixed method study is named as converted design of mixed methods, and it goes through the three main stages. First is data collection, which is carried out through interviews or using available text data. Second one is conversation of network data to enable quantitative network analysis, and it is data analysis and interpretation where qualitative information combines with quantitative network analysis at each stage. And the fourth selected method is then we got both type of data and we do both type of analysis. And here are possible two designs, sequential and parallel. The sequential type of the research has a logic of joint data collection and analysis. So for instance, we do first qualitative, then we do quantitative analysis, or vice versa. We have quantitative first and then qualitative. In the parallel design of mixing methods, quantitative and qualitative data were collected and analyzed separately without any consistent logic, and it's still fine. And I have this example of qualitative network study. As I've seen in the literature, I think this study is like the best. So it is a study of social capital of migrants, how migrants entrepreneurs use their social capital and for in order to make their own business. So the authors got 17 interviews with the network map. As for the network map, the respondents were given a piece of paper with an empty circle, and they were asked to enter the names or initials to important persons relating to business in this circle. So out of this analysis, we got the case of Anna, and there were more other cases. So she told a story about her business of an IT company. When in her startup phase, she got only clients from the migrants from this Soviet Union. She's from Russia. And after 10 years, she kind of go to the mainstream market, and her main clients were also from Germany. And she told that that was the main the key element of successful of your company, because she moved from migrant to mainstream market. And a few words about the research design of my qualitative social network analysis study for my dissertation. I want to study social interaction circles of families of Russian relocates who have recently become parents. So the object is social interaction circles. Subject is social interaction circles of families of Russian relocates. And the purpose is to study the social interaction circles of Russian relocates who have recently become parents. And what I want to find there, I want to identify new and stable interactions, because I believe that people who become parents and those transitions of new to new identity, to new lifestyle can be very hard and rush. This is what I know when I become a parent, and definitely social circles people with whom you're connecting during the day or during weeks, months, very, very changed. So to identify new and stable interactions, identify adaptation strategies to the new status and the parents, and also identify adaptation strategies in a new location, because this is people who relocate to a new country, and determine the distribution of responsibilities in the family, how it changed after they got a baby, and identify the formation of update gender contract. Because when people having some relationships, they had some gender contract, like women do one part of the job, men do other part of the job, but in new circumstances, in the new situation when they become parents, maybe these gender contracts changed somehow. And when the changing of these gender contracts is followed with some negative issues, maybe it could be maybe it is possible to have a kind of a crisis of the relationships, of the identity, and all of it. So the data collection will be semi-structured interviews and use of a network map, and the data analysis is qualitative social network analysis, interview analysis, and work with the network map construction and visualization. So this is it. Thank you for your attention. I will be happy to answer to your questions, and also listen some comments. I hope you are still alive and with me.
Yes, Aryuna, thank you very much for your presentation. I have a quick question. So this methodology, is it taught in some courses? So which courses it is taught or could be taught?
Courses. Honestly, I haven't seen the courses. Any of it. I've been only participated in a few master classes, I think, in the conferences. But I think that the qualitative social network analysis can be the separate course, as we have courses for social network analysis. I think it could be a nice course for sociologists or social sciences, and also it could be also very nice maybe course for our master's program also, where we thought about applied statistics. But of course, in the qualitative studies, we don't say a few about statistics, but also maybe for in order to conduct the mixed method study, I think this component of qualitative methods could be also very useful.
Personally, I believe that this topic could be integrated somewhere in research seminar, as
Definitely, yeah,
yes,
sure.
as a topic for a couple of lectures, couple of seminars, and
Mhm.
probably you could prepare some guidelines for such a study within the research seminar, because I think it is quite nice and quite complementary to the current topics of the research seminar.
Yeah, maybe I will think about it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So any question, any comment from our guests, participants? Okay, if not, you have all the contacts here on the screen, and I think we may thank everyone. We appreciate you being here with us today, and thank you very much for taking part in the series of our seminars. Our next research seminar is planned for July 31st. Yes, it is next Monday, same time. So we are planning to have today, or I believe tomorrow. So we will have the announcement on our webpage. So please stay tuned and save the date for next week. So thank you everyone for being here. Aryuna, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you
guys for evening. Thank you for participation.
Yes, we may stop the recording and wrap up.